As Michael Jordan helped a desperate girl in a pharmacy, he never imagined his life would be irrevocably altered. This is the story of how a simple act of kindness transformed a family. My brother will die if I don't get this medication. Scarlett Evans' cry sliced through the pharmacy's quiet like a blade. 12 years old, hair plastered to her face with sweat and desperation, her hands trembled violently as she clutched a crumpled prescription. Thomas has been having seizures for 15 minutes. She clambered onto the pharmacy counter, knocking over bottles. Please! Jennifer Walsh, the pharmacist, typed in the crumpled, blood-stained prescription. $487, honey? Scarlett's world imploded. She poured out the contents of her pockets. $23 in crumpled bills, coins that rolled across the floor, a ripped school lunch voucher. It's all I have, she sank to her knees sobbing. He's 7. He hasn't spoken since Mom. Since the accident. If he dies. That's when Michael Jordan took the 3 steps that would change everything. The man worth $2 billion was there by chance, picking up vitamins. But the sound of that desperation, he knew it. It was the kind you carry forever. He placed his black card on the counter. Ring it up. Now. Scarlett whipped her head around so fast the world spun. Those eyes. She knew those eyes. Everyone in Chicago knew them. I can't accept this. Don't worry about it. His voice cut through, firm as a game-winning dunk. It's a loan. Now go. Your brother needs you. She snatched the medicine as if it were the world's last hope. Maybe it was. I'll pay you every cent back, she yelled, already sprinting into Chicago's freezing darkness. Michael Jordan stood, watching the girl disappear into the 5 below zero night. Jennifer, still stunned, whispered, Mr. Jordan, that girl and her mother's been sick for 6 months. They live in Riverside Gardens, that condemned building where, I know where, he cut her off. He did. He'd grown up 3 blocks from there. 40 years ago, he was that desperate kid. Nobody helped him. If she comes back, call me, anytime. But Michael Jordan already knew. He wouldn't wait for her to return. That night, the greatest basketball player of all time had found a game that truly mattered. And it was just beginning. Michael Jordan spent that night wrestling with the girl's predicament, and then his phone rang. It was Jennifer from the pharmacy. Mr. Jordan? Sorry to call so late. What is it? Is it about the girl? Not exactly. It's just, after you left, I got to thinking, maybe you should know. Scarlett Evans is known around here. She's been solely responsible for her brother for months now. Her mother, Rebecca Evans, was in a terrible accident 6 months ago. Head-on collision. She's been in a coma ever since. A coma? Then who's looking after these children? Nobody, Mr. Jordan. Scarlett's been forging her mother's signature on school documents, pretending everything's fine. If social services find out, they'll be separated and placed in different foster homes. Exactly. Scarlett's doing the impossible to keep the family together. She's extraordinary, Mr. Jordan, but she's at her breaking point. Today was the first time I've seen her like this, completely desperate. Michael closed his eyes. A 12-year-old girl carrying the world on her shoulders, caring for an autistic, depressed brother, keeping a comatose mother alive somehow, alone. Jennifer, you said Riverside Gardens, apartment number? 407. But Mr. Jordan, please be careful. That place, at night especially, it's gang territory. And if they know Michael Jordan is there... Thank you, Jennifer. He hung up and stood still for a few more minutes. Outside, the first hint of dawn was beginning to paint the horizon. Chicago was waking up to another day. For most, it would be an ordinary day. For Michael Jordan, it would be the day he finally understood why all his success, all his fortune, hadn't been able to fill the void in his soul. Michael arrived at the building quickly. Upon reaching the 4th floor, the hallway was dim, with only a flickering fluorescent bulb at the far end, casting an erratic glow. Apartment 407. The door had 3 different locks, all clearly installed at different times, a desperate attempt at security in a place where it was non-existent. Michael knocked gently. Nothing. He knocked again, a bit louder. Scarlett? It's me. The man from the pharmacy last night. Silence. Then soft footsteps. Scarlett's voice came through the door, wary. How did you find me? Does it matter? How's your brother? One of the locks turned, then another. The third. The door opened a mere few inches, secured by a chain. A green eye scrutinized him through the gap. Thomas is stable. The medicine worked. A pause. You shouldn't be here. Probably not. May I come in? It's not. The house isn't. Her voice faltered, pride warring with reality. Scarlett, I grew up in a worse place than this. May I come in? The chain was removed. The door swung open. The apartment was small, perhaps 50 square meters in total, but it was immaculately clean, every surface scrubbed to a gleam, a heroic attempt to maintain dignity amidst the chaos. Colorful children's drawings covered the walls, clearly Thomas's work, transforming cracks and damp stains into part of imaginary worlds. Thomas was curled on the sofa, a plaid blanket covering his small frame. He didn't look at Michael, his eyes fixed on an unseen point on the wall, rocking back and forth in a steady rhythm. He won't talk to you, Scarlett said softly. He hasn't spoken to anyone since the accident. Only me. And even then, only when he's very scared. Michael approached slowly, his movements calculated not to startle the boy. He dealt with special needs children before, on his basketball courts. He knew that sudden movements could trigger panic. Hi, Thomas. My name is Michael. I came to see if you're feeling better. Thomas continued to rock, but his eyes flickered briefly toward Michael, then back to the wall. Small progress. He loves basketball, Scarlett said, gesturing to the drawings on the wall. Many were of players, balls, hoops. Before the accident, it was all he talked about. He wanted to be like... She stopped abruptly, flushing. Like Michael Jordan? He finished with a small smile. Yeah, ironic, huh? She offered a wry smile. The greatest player of all time, and Thomas doesn't even know you're here. Michael sat on the floor, deliberately placing himself below Thomas's eye level. Unthreatening. Safe. Thomas, did you know the first basketball game was played with a soccer ball and peach baskets? Thomas's rocking slowed, almost imperceptibly. It's true in 1891, and every time someone made a basket, they had to climb a ladder to retrieve the ball. Thomas turned his head slightly in Michael's direction. Still no eye contact, but he was listening. Scarlett watched astonished. It was more reaction than Thomas had shown to a stranger in 6 months. You take good care of him, Michael said to her, but it must be difficult doing it alone. Scarlett's face immediately hardened, all her walls going up at once. We're fine. We manage. I appreciate the medicine, and I'll pay you back, but we don't need charity. I'm not offering charity, I'm offering help. There's a difference. Not to me. Michael studied the girl before him, 12 years old but with eyes that had seen too much, carried too much, the kind of eyes he saw in the mirror every morning. Where's your mother, Scarlett? The silence that followed was heavy, fraught. Thomas began to rock faster, clearly agitated. Scarlett went to him, placing a gentle hand on his shoulder, and he instantly calmed. She's resting in her room. She can't have visitors. Scarlett. Sir, what is your name again? Michael. Just Michael. Michael, I appreciate what you did, truly, but I need you to go now. If anyone sees you here, they'll ask questions, and I can't afford questions right now. Michael stood slowly. He pulled a card from his pocket and laid it on the cracked coffee table. My number. Anything, anytime. You call. Scarlett took the card without looking at it. I won't call. I know, but keep it anyway. He was at the door when Thomas spoke. A single word, barely audible, but it made Scarlett gasp and Michael freeze. Thank you. Michael turned. Thomas wasn't looking at him yet, still rocking, but he had spoken. The first word to a stranger in 6 months. You're welcome, champ, Michael replied softly. As he left, Scarlett followed him into the hall. What did you do? How did you... He hasn't spoken for... Sometimes people just need to feel it's safe to speak. You've done that for him every day. I just showed him that other people can be safe too. Tears welled in Scarlett's eyes, but she fought them back fiercely. Why are you doing this? Why do you care? Michael looked down the dark, dilapidated hallway, then back at the girl who was trying so desperately to hold her family together. Because I'm a father, and I believe all children who are struggling deserve help. Do you want to meet my mother? The question came out of nowhere. Michael was about to descend the stairs when Scarlett spoke, her voice small and uncertain. He turned, seeing the conflict etched on her face, the desire to trust warring with months of closely guarded secrets. If you want to show me. Scarlett glanced down the empty hallway, then back at Michael. She made a decision that would change everything. Come in. Quickly. Back in the apartment, Thomas had fallen asleep on the sofa, exhausted from the previous night's crisis. Scarlett carefully covered him with another blanket before guiding Michael down a narrow hallway. Before you come in, she stopped in front of a closed door, her hand on the knob. You have to promise not to tell anyone. Anyone. If social services find out. I promise. Scarlett opened the door. The room had been converted into a makeshift ICU. Rebecca Evans lay in a hospital bed, clearly stolen or bought on the black market. Machines surrounded the bed. Heart monitor, ventilator, IV drip pumps. The constant beep of the heart monitor was the only sound besides the mechanical breathing forced by the ventilator. Michael froze. This was impossible. How was a 12-year-old girl managing this? Rebecca was unrecognizable as a functioning human being. Her body was emaciated, muscles atrophied from 6 months of immobility. Tubes snaked from everywhere, nose, mouth, arms. Her hair, which must have been blonde like Scarlett's, was thin and lifeless. My God, Scarlett, how did you... I learned, she said simply, adjusting one of the IV tubes with the practiced ease of a veteran nurse. The internet, mostly. Some books from the library. Nurse Nancy comes 3 times a week, but I do the rest. Changing dressings, turning her to prevent bed sores, physical therapy to keep some circulation going. She spoke mechanically, as if reciting a list of household chores, rather than complex medical procedures that kept her mother alive. The accident, it was a head-on collision. The other driver died instantly. Mom had severe head trauma, multiple fractures, spinal damage. Doctors said she wouldn't make it through the first night. Then they said she wouldn't make it through the first week. Then the first month. A bitter smile. It's been 6 months. She's still here. But Scarlett, the cost, the equipment, Dr. Coleman provides most of it. He shows up sometimes, checks that everything is functioning, never charges anything. Why? Why would a doctor do that? Scarlett shrugged, but there was something in her eyes, an unspoken suspicion. He says it's his duty, but he doesn't elaborate further. He always seems guilty when he's here, as if he's paying for something. Michael moved closer to the bed, looking at Rebecca's pale face. Even unconscious, there was something of Scarlett in her. The same delicate bone structure, the same determined chin. Social services. They're coming in 48 hours, Scarlett confessed, her voice cracking for the first time. The school is suspicious. I've forged Mom's signature too many times. The principal wants a face-to-face meeting. If she doesn't show up, they'll find out. And they'll take Thomas. They'll put me in foster care. And Mom, her voice failed, they'll turn off the machines. They'll say there's no hope. But I know there is. Sometimes when I talk to her, her heartbeat changes. Sometimes her eyes flutter under her eyelids. She's in there, Michael. I know she is. The tears finally came. 6 months of strength crumbling all at once. Scarlett sank to her knees beside her mother's bed, clutching the limp hand. I can't lose her, too. Dad's already gone. I can't lose her, too. Thomas wouldn't handle it. He's already shattered if he loses Mom. Michael knelt beside her, unsure what to say. How do you console a child carrying an adult's burden? How do you offer hope when the situation seems impossible? Scarlett, listen to me. You're not going to lose anyone. We'll do something. How? She looked at him, eyes red-rimmed and desperate. How can you promise that? You don't even know us. Because I have resources, connections. I can get specialist doctors, lawyers. No! Scarlett stood up abruptly. Don't you understand? If you get officially involved, they'll investigate. They'll find out she's been like this for months. They'll blame me for not reporting it. They might even sue me for neglect. The heart monitor suddenly sped up. Rebecca was reacting to the stress in the room, even in her coma. Shh, Mommy, it's okay, Scarlett soothed, stroking her mother's thinning hair. I'm here. Thomas is fine. We're all fine. The heartbeat slowly stabilized. Michael watched, awestruck and heartbroken. This child had become a mother, a nurse, a provider, all at once. And she was doing a better job than many adults would. How long has it been since you slept a full night? He asked softly. Scarlett laughed bitterly. 6 months. The machines need checking every 2 hours. Medicine administered at specific times. Thomas has terrible nightmares and wakes up screaming. And when I finally get 5 minutes, I'm studying so I don't fail school because if my grades drop, they'll investigate me too. You're the strongest person I've ever met, Michael said, and every word was true. I'm not strong. I'm terrified. Every day I wake up thinking this will be the day it all falls apart. That Mom stops breathing, that Thomas has a seizure I can't stop, that they'll knock on the door and take everything away from me. A sound in the hallway made them freeze. Footsteps. Scarlett turned pale. Hide, she whispered urgently, pushing Michael into the closet. Through the crack in the closet door, Michael watched Scarlett compose herself instantly, wiping away tears, straightening her back. The transformation was striking and sad. The bedroom door opened. A man entered, tall, thin, wearing a white coat. Dr. Coleman, presumably. Scarlett, he said, his voice laden with something Michael couldn't quite identify. Guilt? Fear? How is she? Stable. All vital signs normal. The doctor approached, checking monitors, adjusting some settings. His movements were precise, professional, but his hands trembled slightly. Scarlett, I need to tell you something. What is it? Is something wrong with Mom? No, not that. It's about that night, the night of the accident. Michael's heart leaped. There was something here, something important. What about that night? Scarlett's voice was cautious now. The doctor paused, struggling for words. I just want you to know that I'll do everything in my power to keep your mother alive. It's my duty. Why do you always say that? Duty to whom? To my conscience, he replied quickly. Too quickly. I have to go. I'll be back in 2 days. He left hastily, almost running. Scarlett stared at the door, confused and suspicious. Michael emerged from the closet. He's hiding something. I know, but what? And why would he help if he has something to hide about the accident? Before Michael could respond, the heart monitor blared again. But this time it was different. Rebecca's eyes flickered beneath her eyelids. Her fingers twitched slightly. Mommy? Scarlett clutched her hand. Mommy, can you hear me? For an impossible moment, it seemed Rebecca might awaken. Her lips moved faintly as if trying to form words. Then as quickly as it began, it stopped. Rebecca returned to complete stillness, only the machines proving she was still alive. Scarlett slumped into the chair beside the bed, emotionally and physically spent. She does that sometimes, like she's fighting to come back, but something's holding her. Michael looked at the broken girl, the comatose mother, the doctor's secret, and made a decision. Scarlett, give me 48 hours. Don't do anything drastic. Just give me 2 days. For what? To make sure you don't lose anyone else. It was nearly noon when Michael finally exited apartment 407. Scarlett had insisted he leave before the neighbors began to circulate more, asking questions. But before he went, she stopped him at the door. Michael, if you really want to help, there are conditions. I'm listening. First, no charity. Everything is a loan. I'll write down every cent and pay it back when Mommy wakes up and I get a job. Scarlett, you're 12 years old. Second condition, she continued, ignoring him. No involving authorities, no police, no social services, no lawyers who might draw attention. Third, you can't tell anyone about Mommy. Anyone. Those are a lot of conditions. It's take it or leave it. Michael studied her determined face. Pride. It was all she had left, and he wouldn't take that from her. I accept your terms, but I have one of my own. Scarlett narrowed her eyes suspiciously. Which is, you let me help my way. No questioning my methods, as long as I respect your rules. She thought for a long moment, then extended her hand. A small hand, calloused from labor no child should endure. Deal. They shook hands solemnly. A pact between two survivors, separated by age and fortune, bound by an understanding that transcended both. The social worker will come the day after tomorrow at 3 in the afternoon, Scarlett informed him. Sarah Thompson. She's rigorous. If we don't convince her that Mom is well and taking care of us, leave that to me. Michael, you don't understand. She'll want to see Mom. Talk to her. How will we? I said leave it to me. Now I need you to tell me everything, every detail about your situation. Documents, bills, debts, everything. For the next 30 minutes, Scarlett revealed the intricate web of lies and juggling she maintained to survive. Overdue utility bills she paid with cash, earned delivering papers before dawn. Rent 3 months behind that the landlord overlooked out of pity. Forged school documents. Fabricated medical certificates. How did you learn to forge signatures so well? Michael asked, impressed by the quality of the forgeries. The internet, she replied with a shrug. There are tutorials for everything these days. Thomas woke during the conversation, and to Michael's surprise, the boy slowly approached, sitting on the floor near them. He didn't participate in the conversation, but his presence was progress. Thomas has a psychiatrist appointment on Thursday, Scarlett said, stroking her brother's hair. But I don't have money for the medications he always prescribes. And without the medication, the seizures come back. How much do they cost? $300 a month, plus the emergency anticonvulsants you paid for yesterday. Michael did the math in his head. A 12-year-old boy needed nearly $1,000 a month for medication alone, not to mention food, rent, medical equipment for his mother. How had she survived for 6 months? As if reading his thoughts, Scarlett said, I manage. I deliver papers, do homework for other students, sell some things. What things? She hesitated, then moved to a cabinet and took out a box. Inside lay several valuables, an expensive men's watch, some jewelry, an older laptop. Dad's things, the stuff he left behind. For when I get really desperate. Your father, where is he? Scarlett's face instantly hardened. I don't know. I don't care. He left 2 years ago. Said he was going for cigarettes. Never came back. Scarlett! No, she cut him off. I don't want to talk about him. He made his choice. He abandoned Mom. He abandoned me. He abandoned Thomas when he needed stability the most. We're better off without him. But there was pain in her eyes, the kind of pain that comes from unanswered questions. Why weren't we enough? What did we do wrong? Why didn't he love us enough to stay? Michael knew that pain. His own father had left when he was 15. Not abandonment, but death, a sudden heart attack that left the family shattered. But the feeling of abandonment was similar, irrational, yet real. I need to make some calls, Michael said, standing up. I'll be back tonight. Do you need anything until then? Food would be nice. Thomas doesn't eat well, but he likes mac and cheese. And milk. I always need milk for him. Michael pulled out his wallet, but Scarlett shook her head. No money, just if you can bring some things when you come back. I'll write it down as debt. Scarlett? Please, it's important to me. Michael nodded. He understood pride. He understood the need to maintain some control when everything else was falling apart. I'll go shopping, but you're going to let me cook dinner. It's part of the deal. I help in my own way. A small smile touched Scarlett's lips, the first genuine one he'd seen. You cook? I make the best burger in Chicago. Ask any of my former teammates. Burger! Thomas exclaimed suddenly, making them both jump. It was the second time he'd spoken in Michael's presence. You like burgers, champ? Michael asked gently. Thomas didn't answer verbally, but he nodded vigorously, a spark of normal childhood appearing through the veil of trauma. Then burgers it is, with fries and a milkshake. Milkshake, Thomas repeated, almost smiling. Scarlett watched with tears in her eyes. 2 days. In 2 days, this stranger had garnered more reactions from Thomas than she had in 6 months. Thank you, she whispered. Don't thank me yet. We still have a social worker to deal with and her mother to protect. As Michael was leaving, his phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Mr. Jordan? A male voice strained. I'm Dr. Coleman. I need to speak with you. It's about Rebecca Evans and about what really happened the night of the accident. Michael looked back at apartment 407, where Scarlett was closing the door. Where and when? Coffee at the corner of Madison and 47th. 1 hour. Come alone. And Mr. Jordan? What I'm about to tell you, it could change everything. The line went dead. The coffee shop was nearly empty at 2 in the afternoon. Dr. Richard Coleman was hunched in a corner, nervously swirling a cup of cold coffee. When he saw Michael, his eyes widened. Clearly, he hadn't expected Michael Jordan to show up in person. Mr. Jordan, thank you for coming. Michael sat down, studying the doctor. Coleman was about 50, with premature streaks of gray in his hair, hands that trembled slightly, not from fear but from exhaustion. Deep shadows under his eyes suggested many sleepless nights. You said you had something to tell me about Rebecca's accident. Coleman glanced around nervously, then leaned forward. First, I need to know, why are you helping the Evans family? You don't know them. Does it matter? To me, yes, because what I'm about to tell you, it could put you in danger. I need to know you're in this for the right reasons. Michael thought of Scarlett, exhausted but fighting, of Thomas, broken but still present, of Rebecca, caught between life and death. I'm helping because it's the right thing to do, because that little girl is carrying the world alone, and no one should have to do that. Coleman nodded slowly. Scarlett is extraordinary. That's why He paused, wrestling with his words. That's why I supply the medical equipment, free of charge, for 6 months. Why? Medical equipment of that caliber costs thousands of dollars a month. It's my duty, Coleman repeated the same words he'd said to Scarlett. That's not an answer. Coleman took a shaky sip of coffee. What if I told you I feel responsible for the accident? Michael leaned forward. Go on. I was the on-call doctor in the ER that night. Rebecca arrived in critical condition, but something about the whole story felt off. The police report stated she was alone in the car, had lost control and struck a tree. But the injuries, they didn't align. What do you mean? The primary impact was on the passenger side, not the driver's, and there was evidence of another occupant. Blood that didn't match hers, fabric fibers from men's clothing, and most importantly, Coleman paused, visibly sweating. Rebecca was conscious for a few minutes upon arrival. She said something. Just one word, repeated several times. What word? Marcus, her ex-husband's name. She was terrified, Mr. Jordan, not of the pain, but of something else, as if he were still a threat. Michael felt a chill crawl up his spine. You're saying Marcus was in the car? I'm saying all evidence pointed to it, but by the time I went to report it to the police, the report had already been finalized. Case closed. Single driver, loss of control, tragic accident. That doesn't make sense. Why would the police? Marcus Evans has connections, Mr. Jordan. Dangerous connections. He owes a great deal of money to very bad people. People who have the police in their pocket. Michael processed this information. If Marcus was in the car, if he caused the accident and fled, why didn't you say anything? Why let it go? Coleman hung his head in shame. Because the next day I had visitors. 2 men. They made it abundantly clear what would happen to me and my family if I spoke out. They showed me pictures of my daughter leaving school, my wife at the grocery store. They said accidents happen all the time. So you stayed quiet. I stayed quiet. And every night since, I see Rebecca's face. I see Scarlett trying to be both mother and father. I see Thomas withdrawing from the world. Because of me. Because I was a coward. That's why the medical equipment. It's the least I can do. I use my hospital contacts, divert equipment that would be discarded, buy medication with my own money. But it's not enough. It will never be enough. Michael was silent for a moment, processing everything. Why are you telling me this now? Because I saw you entering the building today. Michael Jordan doesn't visit Riverside Gardens without reason. And if you're truly interested in helping that family, you need to know what you're getting yourself into. Marcus Evans is dangerous, and he's been watching. Observing? My contacts told me. He knows his ex-wife is in a coma. He knows Scarlett is alone with Thomas. And now, with the life insurance deadline looming, life insurance. Rebecca had $1 million policy. Marcus is still the beneficiary. They never officially finalized the divorce. If she dies before a year from the accident, he gets everything. We're 6 months out from the accident, 6 more months, and he forfeits the money. My God, you think I think he'll do anything for that money. He owes loan sharks nearly $500,000. They aren't known for their patience. Michael felt a new urgency. It wasn't just about keeping the family together. It was about protecting them from a real threat. What else do I need to know? Coleman glanced around again, then slid an envelope across the table. Evidence. Photos from the crash I took before I was threatened. Blood tests proving there were 2 people in the car. An audio recording of Rebecca saying his name. It's not enough for the corrupt police, but it might be useful. Michael took the envelope. Why trust me with this? Because you're Michael Jordan. You have power, influence, money. Things I don't have. And because I saw how you looked at those children today, you care, genuinely care. Coleman, I need you to keep supplying the equipment. You can't stop now. I won't stop. But Mr. Jordan, be careful. Marcus is unpredictable. And if he finds out you're involved, leave Marcus to me. Coleman started to get up to leave, then paused. Mr. Jordan, Scarlett doesn't know any of this. About their father being in the car, about the insurance, nothing. She still holds out hope that he was just a coward who ran off, not a monster who tried to kill her mother. Do you think we should tell her? I don't know. She carries so much already, but she deserves the truth too. After Coleman left, Michael sat alone in the cafe, the envelope heavy in his hands. Things were far worse than he had imagined. It wasn't just poverty and illness threatening to destroy the Evans family. It was their own father. Michael returned to Riverside Gardens at dusk, carrying grocery bags. He had bought more than necessary, not just food, but also a few toys for Thomas, school supplies for Scarlett, things that would make life a little more bearable. When Scarlett opened the door, she looked utterly spent. Thomas was having a bad day, she explained. More episodes of dissociation, more rocking, less responsiveness. The doctor said it's normal, she said, ushering Michael into the kitchen. Kids on the autism spectrum with added trauma can regress without warning, but it's hard to watch him slip backward when he'd progressed this morning. Michael began unpacking the groceries as Scarlett protested weakly about the quantity. This is too much. I can't afford all this. Scarlett, let me make dinner first. We'll discuss debts later. As Michael prepared the burgers, he observed Thomas, who sat in a corner of the living room, meticulously arranging and rearranging a collection of bottle caps into intricate patterns. Has he always done that? Michael asked. It started after the accident. His psychiatrist said it's a coping mechanism, creating order when everything else feels chaotic. Michael slowly approached Thomas, sitting on the floor at a respectful distance. Can I see what you're doing, Thomas? The boy didn't reply verbally, but slid over slightly, allowing Michael a better view. The caps were arranged in a specific pattern, not by color or size, but by something more complex. It's mathematical, Michael realized. You're organizing by Fibonacci sequence. Thomas stopped, looking at Michael for the first time with genuine interest. You know Fibonacci? His voice was small, almost a whisper. I do. 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, Thomas finished, a faint smile appearing. Scarlett watched from the kitchen, awestruck. He's brilliant, Michael told her. This isn't just autism, Scarlett. Thomas is gifted. The test showed an IQ of 152, she confirmed. But after the accident, he can't focus in school. He gets lost in his own head. Michael turned his attention back to Thomas. Thomas, do you like numbers? A nod. And patterns? Another nod, more enthusiastic this time. Did you know basketball is all about patterns and numbers? Shooting angles, ball speed, trajectory? Thomas looked at him with burgeoning interest for the first time. Michael Jordan calculated angles? Michael chuckled. Not consciously, but my brain did it automatically. That's why I rarely missed a big shot. I could see the patterns. I see patterns in everything, Thomas whispered. In the cracks in the wall, in the sound of Mom's breathing, in the way Scarlett walks when she's worried versus when she's sad. And what do the patterns tell you? Thomas was quiet for a long moment then. That something bad is going to happen. The patterns are converging, like before the accident. I saw the patterns that week, but I didn't know what they meant. Now I do. And they're happening again. Scarlett moved closer, alarmed. What patterns, Thomas? What are you seeing? The man, Thomas said simply. The watching man. He has the same breathing pattern as Dad. Same walk. But he hides. He stays across the street, watching our window. Michael and Scarlett exchanged worried glances. How long have you been seeing this man, Thomas? 3 days, always at night, between 7:43 and 8:17. He smokes exactly 7 cigarettes, checks his phone every 3 minutes. Why didn't you tell me? Scarlett asked, trying not to sound accusatory. You're already worried enough. Your breathing patterns indicate stress level 9. If I told you, it would go to 10. Level 10 is when you cry in the bathroom thinking I can't hear. Scarlett hugged her brother, tears streaming. Oh, Thomas, you don't have to protect me. It's my job to protect you. We protect each other, he replied, awkwardly returning the embrace. That's what Mom would say. Michael went to the window carefully, peeking through the curtain. Across the street, partially concealed in the shadows, there was indeed a man, smoking, watching. Scarlett, he said calmly, take Thomas to your mother's room. Lock the door. What? Why? Just do it. Now his tone allowed no argument. Scarlett took Thomas's hand and quickly guided him to Rebecca's room. Michael picked up his phone and took a picture of the man, zooming in as much as possible. The face wasn't clear, but the build, the posture. His phone rang. Dr. Coleman. Jordan, Marcus has been sighted in the neighborhood. My contacts just informed me. He's looking for a way into the building unnoticed. Too late. He's here across the street. Get out of there. He's dangerous. I'm not leaving these kids alone with him lurking. Jordan, you don't understand. He's not alone. There are 2 goons with him. They're planning something for tonight. Michael switched off and hurried to Rebecca's room. Scarlett was by her mother's bedside holding Thomas. Scarlett, grab what you can carry. You're coming with me. Now. What? No! I can't leave Mommy! It's your father. He's outside, with 2 men. Scarlett's face drained of all color. No, he wouldn't. He wouldn't come here. He did, and for all the wrong reasons. Trust me, we need to leave now. But Mommy, the machines. What if they lose power or the medicine runs out? A sound at the front door made them freeze. Someone was fiddling with the lock. Too late, Michael whispered. Scarlett, lock this door. Don't open it for anyone but me. Understand? Michael, no. Do it! He exited the room, hearing the door click shut behind him. He walked calmly to the living room just as the front door swung open. Marcus Evans entered, flanked by 2 hulking men. Marcus was shorter than Michael expected, but there was a coiled, dangerous energy about him, eyes that had seen and done bad things. Who the hell are you? Marcus snarled. Just a neighbor checking on the children, Michael replied placidly. And who are you? Marcus chuckled, a cold, humorless sound. Neighbor? In this dump? Don't make me laugh. His eyes narrowed. Wait, I know you. You can't be. I'm just someone who cares about those children. Something you might try. Marcus's face darkened. Those are my children. I have every right to be here. Rights are earned, not given. Listen here, celebrity. Marcus spat the word like venom. I don't know what kind of sick game you're playing with my daughter, but it ends now. Scarlett, get out here now. Silence from the bedroom. Scarlett, don't make me break this door down. She's not coming out, Michael said, positioning himself between Marcus and the hallway. And you're leaving. Now. Marcus gestured, and the two men advanced on Michael. Do you know who I am? Michael asked the men, not moving. I'm Michael Jordan, and I have every cop in Chicago on speed dial. One call, and this place is crawling with them. You want that? The men hesitated, glancing at Marcus. He's bluffing, Marcus said, but there was uncertainty in his voice. Michael pulled out his phone, beginning to dial. Test me. For a tense moment, no one moved. Then Marcus laughed again. All right, all right. No need for dramatics. I was just checking on my kids. Is that a crime now? At 11 at night? After 2 years? With thugs? I got word about Rebecca, that she's unwell. I came to offer assistance. What kind of assistance? The kind that involves getting the children to a better place. They can't live like this. They're fine where they are. For how long? Marcus stepped forward. How long until social services shows up? How long until the money runs out? How long until Rebecca? He didn't finish the sentence, but the implication was clear. Get out, Michael said, his voice low and dangerous. Get out and don't come back. Or what? You gonna rough me up? I'm going to expose what you did. The accident. The fact that you were in the car. That you fled and left her for dead. Marcus's face went white, then red with rage. You don't know anything. I know enough, and I have proof. It was a partial bluff. Coleman's evidence wasn't conclusive, but Marcus didn't know that. You're messing with dangerous people, Jordan. This isn't a game. It isn't for me either. Those children are under my protection now. If you or your friends get near them again, I will use every resource I have to destroy you. And believe me, I have plenty of resources. Marcus backed away, gesturing to his men. This isn't over. I have rights. I'm their father. You were their father. Now you're just a threat to be eliminated. Marcus spat on the ground. We'll see about that. Scarlett, remember, darling, Daddy loves you. I'll be back for you. They left, slamming the door. Michael waited, counting to 100, listening to the receding footsteps. Only then did he return to the room. You can go out. They're gone. The door creaked open. Scarlett was pale, trembling. Thomas was behind her, rocking frantically. It was really him, Scarlett whispered. After 2 years. Why now? Michael didn't have the heart to tell her about the life insurance. Not yet. It doesn't matter. He won't hurt them. I promise. You can't promise that. You don't know him like I do. When he wants something... Scarlett, look at me. Michael knelt to be eye level with her. I'm Michael Jordan. I've won 6 NBA championships. I've faced the best athletes in the world. Your father doesn't scare me, and I won't let him get close to you. But what if he goes to social services first? What if he tells them we're alone? Then we make our move first. Tomorrow we'll sort out the situation with the social worker. But tonight, you are not alone here. We can't leave. Mommy, I'll stay. I'll spend the night here. No one gets in without going through me. Scarlett looked at him, then at Thomas, who had stopped rocking and was looking at Michael with something akin to hope. You would do that? Stay here? In this place? Scarlett, I've slept in worse places, and I'll do whatever it takes to keep you safe. Thomas slowly approached and, to everyone's surprise, took Michael's hand. The standards have changed, he said softly, since you arrived. They've gotten better, safer. Then we'll keep it that way, champ. That night, Michael Jordan, billionaire and basketball legend, slept on the torn sofa of apartment 407, guarding 2 children and a comatose woman. Morning arrived without incident, but Michael had barely slept. Every sound in the hallway put him on edge. Every creak of the old building could be Marcus returning. At 6 in the morning, Scarlett emerged from the bedroom, already dressed for school. You stayed up all night. It wasn't a question. I slept enough. She went to the kitchen and started making coffee. Automatic movements of someone who had shouldered adult responsibilities too soon. You don't have to go to school today, Michael suggested. With everything that happened, if I don't go, they'll mark me absent. 3 unexcused absences, and they notify social services. I can't risk that, not now. Michael admired her discipline, but worried. What about Thomas? He doesn't have school today. He has therapy on Tuesdays, but I canceled it. I can't leave him alone after yesterday. I'll take him, Scarlett said, her spoon ceasing its agitation of the coffee as she turned to face him. Michael, you've already done more than enough. Scarlett, your father knows where you live. He knows you're vulnerable. I won't leave Thomas alone here. Before she could respond, a heavy pounding on the door made them both jump. Scarlett, open the door. It's your father. Marcus's voice was different from the night before, more desperate, less menacing. Don't answer it, Michael whispered. Scarlett, please. I need to talk to you. It's about your mother, about the accident. Scarlett froze. Michael saw the war in her eyes, the child who still wanted to believe her father versus the young woman who had learned not to trust. I know you're in there. I saw the lights on all night. Just give me 5 minutes. I'm going to talk to him, Scarlett decided. Scarlett, no. Through the door, with it locked. I need to know what he wants. She moved toward the door, Michael close behind. What do you want? She asked, her voice steady despite the fear. Open the door, sweetheart. We need to talk about your mother. Speak from there. A pause, then Marcus sighed heavily. Okay, you're right not to trust me. I wasn't a good father. But Scarlett, there are things you don't know. About that night. About the accident. Michael signaled Scarlett not to respond, but she ignored him. What things? I was there, Scarlett. In the car. With your mother. Scarlett's face drained of all color. Her legs buckled, and Michael caught her. You were... It wasn't like it seemed. We were arguing, yes, about the divorce. About you kids. She wanted me to give up my parental rights. I refused. Things got tense. She lost control of the car for a second. Just a second, but it was enough. You caused the accident? Scarlett screamed, tears streaming down her face. No, honey, I swear. It was an accident. But afterward, I panicked. I'd been drinking. Just 2 beers, but enough to get me into trouble. And with my record, they'd have locked me up. So I left. I called for help. I swear, I called 911 from a payphone. You left her, Scarlett sobbed. She was dying and you left her. I know, and I hate myself for it every day. But Scarlett, listen, there's more. Your mother, her life insurance. If she dies within a year of the accident, the money goes to me. It's $1 million. Michael squeezed Scarlett's shoulder in warning. So what? She managed. I owe money, Scarlett. A lot of money. To very dangerous people. If I don't pay, they'll kill me. But if I have the insurance money, you want Mom to die? Scarlett's voice was cold now. All emotion leached out. No, God, no. I came here to make a deal. You need money to care for her, right? For the equipment, the medicine? I can get money. Not a lot, but some. $500 a week. In return, you let me see you. Be a father again. $500 a week? Scarlett echoed. Where would you get that kind of money? Silence from the other side of the door. Marcus, she pressed. I have ways. It doesn't matter how. What matters is I can help, but I need something in return. What? I need you to tell social services that I live here, that I'm taking care of you. That way they won't take you, and if something happens to your mother, naturally, I'll already be established as the guardian. Michael reached for his phone, ready to call the police, but Scarlett gripped his arm. Let me see if I have this right, she said, her voice deadly calm. You want me to lie to the authorities? Tell them you're a good father, so that when my mother dies, which you clearly expect to happen, you can get the insurance money. That's not it. I want to help. You want to use us, like you always have. Scarlett, please. Get out, she screamed. Get out and never come back. You'll regret this, Marcus bellowed back, all pretense of fatherhood gone. When social services take you, when your mother dies alone in some public hospital, you'll wish you'd taken my help. I'd rather go to hell than take anything from you. Heavy footsteps retreated, Hallway door slammed. Scarlett crumpled into Michael's arms, sobbing uncontrollably. All the weight of the last 6 months, all the strength she'd shown, everything came crashing down at once. "He let her die," she choked out. "He was there and he ran. What kind of person does that?" "The kind that doesn't deserve you as a daughter," Michael replied, holding her as she wept. Thomas appeared in the hallway, having heard everything. His eyes were vacant, processing the information in his own unique way. "Daddy is bad," he said simply. "The patterns have always shown it. But you didn't want to see, Scarlett. You hoped the patterns would change." "I'm an idiot," Scarlett pulled away from Michael, furiously wiping her tears. "No." Thomas moved closer to her. "You're hopeful. Mom always said hope isn't foolishness, it's courage." The siblings hugged, and Michael felt his heart fracture for these children who deserved so much more than life had given them. His phone rang. David Mitchell, his lawyer. "Mike, I got what you asked for, but you're not going to like what I discovered about Marcus Evans. Tell me, he owes Dmitry Volkov $480,000. Michael froze. Volkov was Russian mafia in Chicago. Brutal, merciless. There's more. Volkov gave Marcus an ultimatum. Pay up by the end of the month or, well, you know what happens. How much time do we have? 3 weeks. Mike, if Marcus gets desperate enough, he might go after Rebecca. Exactly. If she dies accidentally before a year passes since the crash, he gets the insurance money." Michael looked at Scarlett and Thomas, still clinging to each other, and made a decision. "David, I want you to buy Marcus's debt." "What?" "Mike, that's almost $500,000. Buy the debt, discreetly, through intermediaries. I want to own what Marcus owes." "Why?" "Because then I control what happens to him, and I can protect these kids." "Mike, you're getting involved with dangerous people. Make it happen, David." He hung up and turned his attention back to the children. "Scarlett, do you still have to go to school?" She glanced at the clock and sighed. "Yes, but I'll take you and pick you up. Thomas stays with me all day." "Are you sure?" "Absolutely." "Thomas, how about we spend the day doing some experiments with mathematical patterns?" Thomas's eyes lit up for the first time. "Can we explore Conway's sequence?" "We can explore any sequence you want, champ." As Scarlett got ready for school, Michael mulled over the situation. Marcus was desperate. Volkov was impatient. Rebecca was dying. Social services were due tomorrow. It was like a basketball game in the final quarter. Score tight, every move crucial. But Michael Jordan never lost a big game, and he wasn't about to start now. It was 2 in the afternoon when Michael's phone rang. Scarlett, from school, panicking. "Michael, there are 2 officers here, and the social worker. They want to take me away now." "What? They were supposed to come tomorrow." "Someone called them. She said we were in immediate danger. Michael, I can't leave the principal's office. They'll take me." "Say nothing. I'm coming. 10 minutes." Michael turned to Thomas, who was sketching intricate fractals. "Thomas, I need you to come with me. Quick." Scarlett's in danger. It wasn't a question. Thomas could read the patterns. "Yes, but we're going to help her." Michael drove through Chicago streets like the old days when he was late for a game. Thomas, surprisingly, was calm in the back seat, murmuring numbers, his coping mechanism. The school was a typical South Side red brick building, enclosed by metal fences. Michael parked illegally and ran inside, Thomas hot on his heels. In the principal's office, the scene was fraught with tension. Scarlett sat, flanked by 2 police officers, Sarah Thompson, the social worker, and the principal, a severe woman in her 60s. "You can't take her," Scarlett protested. "I have rights." "Sweetheart, we received a report that you are living alone, caring for a special needs brother and an incapacitated mother without adult supervision," Sarah Thompson explained, not unkindly. "We need to check on your well-being." "Who reported it?" Scarlett demanded. "Tips are anonymous, but—" The door opened. Michael entered, Thomas behind him. Everyone froze. "Michael Jordan?" the principal gasped. "Good afternoon," Michael said calmly, as if it were perfectly normal to show up at a Southside public school. "I understand there's a misunderstanding regarding Scarlett's living situation." Mr. Jordan? Sarah Thompson was bewildered. What are you doing here? I'm the temporary guardian for Scarlett and Thomas Evans. Stunned silence. Guardian? One of the officers asked. We have records that their father, Marcus Evans, abandoned the family 2 years ago. Michael cut in. Rebecca Evans, before the accident, named me guardian of the children should anything happen to her. It was a lie, but delivered with such conviction that everyone paused. We would need to see documentation, Sarah said, recovering. Of course, my lawyer David Mitchell is preparing the papers, but surely you won't traumatize these children by removing them based on an anonymous tip. Mr. Jordan, Sarah began professionally, regardless of who you are, we have protocols. We need to verify the living situation, the mother's condition. Then verify it, now. Let's all go to the apartment. Michael, no, Scarlett began, but he silenced her with a look. Trust me, he said simply. Sarah consulted with the police officers, then nodded. Very well, let's go now. The bizarre entourage, Michael Jordan, 2 children, 2 police officers, a social worker, and the director, who insisted on coming along, drove to Riverside Gardens. En route, Michael called Dr. Coleman. I need you at apartment 407. Now, put on your lab coat and bring your medical bag. What happened? Surprise inspection from social services. I need a doctor to attest to Rebecca's care. I'm on my way. When they arrived at the building, even the officers hesitated. The children live here? One of them asked. Temporarily, Michael replied, while I arrange better accommodations. They ascended the 4 flights in tense silence. Scarlett was pale, Thomas rocking slightly. In apartment 407, Michael opened the door. Please come in. The apartment was immaculate. Michael and Thomas had spent the morning cleaning. It was still poor, but it was dignified. Where is the mother? Sarah asked. In the bedroom, being attended to by Dr. Coleman. Coleman appeared at the bedroom door, stethoscope around his neck. Good afternoon, I'm Dr. Richard Coleman, the physician overseeing Rebecca Evans. Doctor, Sarah greeted. May we see the patient? Of course, but I must ask you to maintain silence. She is in delicate condition. They all entered the bedroom. Rebecca was as usual, surrounded by machines. But Coleman had set the scene, medical records organized, medications professionally labeled, everything appearing as official as possible. How long has she been like this? Sarah asked. 6 months, Coleman replied. Severe head trauma, induced coma initially, now maintained to allow neural recovery. And she's being treated here instead of a hospital because hospitals kill long-term comatose patients, Michael interjected. Hospital-acquired infections, impersonal care. Rebecca has a better chance here, with dedicated attention. But a 12-year-old child? She's not being cared for alone, Michael cut in. I am here daily. Dr. Coleman makes regular visits. A nurse comes 3 times a week. Scarlett helps, yes, but always under supervision. Sarah was clearly skeptical, but she had to admit the care appeared adequate. And what about the father? Marcus Evans? What about him? Scarlett spoke for the first time, her voice laced with bitterness. He has parental rights. He abandoned his family, Scarlett exploded. 2 years of no contact, no support, and now, suddenly, after discovering Mom is vulnerable, he shows up wanting to use us. Scarlett, Sarah began gently. No. Do you want to know the truth? Do you really want to? Scarlett was trembling with rage. My father was in the car when Mom had her accident. He was driving drunk. He crashed the car and fled, leaving her to die. Everyone was stunned. Sarah turned to Coleman. Is this true? Coleman hesitated, then nodded. There was evidence suggesting a second occupant, but no conclusive proof. I have proof, Michael said, pulling out the envelope Coleman had given him. Photos, blood tests, even a recording of Rebecca saying his name. Sarah examined the evidence, her face growing sterner. This changes everything. If Marcus was involved in the accident, he forfeits any rights to the children, the director, who was a lawyer before becoming an educator, interjected. But we still need to ensure the children's safety, Sarah insisted. Mr. Jordan, do you truly intend to be their guardian? Michael looked at Scarlett and Thomas. Scarlett was holding her brother's hand, both looking at him with a mixture of hope and fear. Yes, he said firmly, I do. This will require a formal legal process, which my lawyer will initiate today. Sarah sighed, clearly taken aback by the situation. Mr. Jordan, I need to be frank. You are not family. Why should I approve of this? Thomas, who had been quiet the entire time, suddenly spoke up. Because he sees the patterns, everyone looked at him. Thomas? Sarah approached him gently. People are patterns, Thomas explained in his monotone voice. Dad had bad patterns. Anger, selfishness, fear. Mom had good patterns. Love, sacrifice, hope. Michael has mom's patterns, but stronger. He won't leave. The patterns say so. How do you know? Sarah asked. Because when someone is going to leave, their patterns change in the weeks before. They become distant, erratic. Michael is doing the opposite. His patterns are weaving into ours. He's putting down roots. Michael felt tears welling in his eyes. This broken, autistic, traumatized child had seen something in him that he himself wasn't sure existed. Sarah observed the interaction, noting how Scarlett visibly relaxed when Michael placed a hand on her shoulder, how Thomas naturally gravitated towards him. I'll approve a temporary arrangement, she decided. Mr. Jordan as provisional guardian while the legalities are processed, but I will be conducting weekly visits. Any sign of neglect or abuse? There won't be any, Michael assured her. And what about Marcus? Leave Marcus to me, Michael said, and something in his tone sent a shiver through everyone present. After everyone had departed, Scarlett embraced Michael tightly. You saved us. Not yet. Marcus won't give up easily, and we still have the issue of the money he owes. What money? Michael hesitated, then decided she deserved to know. Your father owes the Russian mob nearly $500,000. If your mother dies within a year of the accident, he collects $1 million from the life insurance. That's why he's back. Scarlett went pale. He wants Mom to die? He needs her to die, or he dies, then we have to protect her. Don't worry, I'm already handling it. Her phone rang. David Mitchell. Mike, I got it. You now own Marcus Evans' debt. It cost $520,000 with interest. Perfect. Mike, what are you planning to do? Give Marcus exactly what he deserves. It was 11 at night when Marcus reappeared. This time he didn't knock. He kicked the door with enough force to shatter one of the locks. Michael, who had been waiting, opened the door before he could kick it again. Hello, Marcus. Marcus stormed in, alone this time. You son of a bitch! You called social services? Actually, no. I thought that was you. Me? Why would I? Marcus stopped, realization dawning. Those sons of Volkov. He's squeezing me. Sit down, Marcus. We need to talk. Talk? Talk? You're trying to steal my children. I'm trying to protect them. From you. Marcus lunged, but Michael didn't flinch. He'd faced far more intimidating men on basketball courts. You don't know me, Marcus snarled. I know you owe Dmitry Volkov $480,000. I know you have 3 weeks to pay, or you're dead. I know you're desperate enough to wish the mother of your children dead. Marcus recoiled, stunned. How did you? I'm Michael Jordan. I have resources, and now I have something else. Michael produced a document from his pocket. Your debt. I bought it from Volkov. You owe me now. Marcus took the paper with trembling hands, reading it. His face went from red to white. This is impossible. Very possible. And here's my offer, Marcus. One chance. Get out of Chicago. Tonight. Never contact Scarlett or Thomas again. Relinquish all parental rights. In exchange, I'll forgive the debt. $500,000? You'd forgive $500,000? To protect those children? I'd forgive 10 times that. Marcus sank onto the sofa, all bravado gone. You don't understand. It's not just about the money. I love my children. Number. You love the idea of them, the image of fatherhood. But real love? Love means sacrifice. It means staying when things get tough. It means choosing them over yourself. I was scared, Marcus erupted. When Rebecca had her accident, I couldn't handle it. Seeing her like that, knowing it was my fault. So you ran. You left a 10-year-old girl to manage everything alone. I'm a coward, okay? Is that what you want to hear? I'm a coward and a failure. Number, you're a father with a choice. Make the right one for the first time in your life. Let them go. Marcus was silent for a long time. Then, what if I refuse? Then I collect the debt. Immediately. You know what that means. Prison, at best. And your children still remain with me, but with the added trauma of seeing their father destroyed. You're a monster. I am what I need to be to protect them. Marcus rose, defeated. The papers. Where do I sign? Michael handed him the documents David had prepared. Total relinquishment of parental rights. No visitation, no contact, no future claims. Marcus signed, his hand trembling. Can I at least say goodbye? Number, they're asleep, and it's better this way. Scarlett will hate me forever. She already does, Marcus. But someday, perhaps, she'll understand this was the only good thing you ever did for her. Marcus walked to the door, stopped. Take care of them. Better than I did. You can be sure of that. Marcus left. Michael heard his footsteps recede, then the sound of a car starting and driving away. He's gone? Michael turned. Scarlett stood in the hallway, having overheard everything. He is. Forever. You bought his debt? $500,000? It was the only way to ensure he'd leave. Why? Why would you spend that much on us? Michael knelt down to her level. Because money is just paper. It can be earned back. But you are irreplaceable. Scarlett began to cry, not from sadness but from relief. The weight of 2 years of neglect, 6 months of struggle, finally lifting. And now, she asked through tears, now we become a family. The following morning, Dr. Coleman appeared early, more agitated than usual. We need to talk, he told Michael, about Marcus and about that night. Scarlett was at school, Thomas asleep. Michael led him to the kitchen. Marcus is gone, Michael informed him. He renounced his parental rights. Coleman looked relieved and worried simultaneously. That's good, but Michael, I need to tell you the whole truth about the accident. I'm listening. Coleman took a deep breath. I lied before. It wasn't just a mission. I was at the accident scene, before the ambulance. Michael sat up straighter. How? I was returning home from the hospital. I saw the accident happen. I saw Marcus get out of the car and run. I was the first one to reach Rebecca. My God. She was conscious, Michael, fully conscious, and she said something that haunts me to this day. What? He tried to kill me. Marcus tried to kill me. Michael felt his blood run cold. It wasn't an accident? At first, I thought it was trauma-induced delirium, but then she said more. Because of the money. He needs the insurance money. She knew, Michael. She knew he was going to do something. Why didn't you tell that to the police? I was going to. But then Marcus showed up at the hospital, not to see Rebecca, but to threaten me. He said if I spoke anything, he would tell everyone I was drunk at the scene, that I had caused more damage trying to help. Is that true? Coleman lowered his head. I had been drinking, 2 drinks at a hospital gala dinner. Not enough to be incapacitated, but enough to lose my license if I was investigated. And Marcus had photos, I don't know how, of me at the hotel bar. So you stayed quiet. Worse, I falsified the report. Said Rebecca was alone. I erased evidence of a second occupant. I betrayed my oath, my ethics, everything. Why are you telling me this now? Because with Marcus out of the picture, I can finally do something right. I have everything documented. The real report, photos I took before altering the scene, even an audio recording from Rebecca. Recording? Coleman took out his phone, played a file. Rebecca's voice, weak but clear. Marcus tried to kill, tell Scarlett. I love her. Protect. The children. Michael felt tears welling up. This woman, dying, was only thinking of her children. There's more, Coleman continued. I've been keeping Rebecca in an induced coma. What? She's been ready to wake for weeks, but if she woke, Marcus would know, and he'd try again. So I kept her sedated, waiting for the right moment. Michael rose, furious. You intentionally kept a mother from her children? To protect her, and protect them. If Rebecca woke up and Marcus was still around, he'd try to kill her again. Exactly, but now with him gone, with you as guardian, she can wake up. Coleman nodded. It will take time, weeks perhaps. We need to taper the sedation gradually, and there are no guarantees. 6 months of coma, even induced, causes damage. She may not be the same, but she'll be alive, and with her children. Yes, Michael processed all of this. When do we start? Today. But Michael, Scarlett needs to know about the induced coma, about the murder attempt, everything. It will destroy her, or liberate her. She deserves the truth. Before Michael could respond, they heard a scream from Thomas's room. They rushed in to find the boy having a severe seizure, worse than any before. Coleman immediately took charge, rolling Thomas onto his side, checking his airway. How long? He asked. 2 minutes, Michael replied, having timed it as soon as he heard the cry. Too long. I need diazepam. In my bag. Michael retrieved the medication. Coleman administered it with practiced precision. Slowly, agonizingly, the seizure subsided. Thomas went limp, breathing shallow but stable. What caused this? Michael asked. Stress. Changes. His nervous system is overloaded. Michael, this boy needs more than medication. He needs stability, routine, peace. He'll have it all. Where am I? Where's Marcus? No! Stay away from my children. She was having a flashback. Coleman moved swiftly to administer a light sedative, just enough to calm her. Rebecca, you're safe. You're home. Marcus is gone. He tried the car. He turned the wheel. We know. It's all documented. He will never hurt you again. Rebecca slowly calmed, her eyes finding Scarlett's. My strong girl. You took care of everything, didn't you? I tried, Mom, she whispered. You succeeded. You're stronger than I ever was. Don't say that. It's true. I knew Marcus was dangerous. I saw the signs. But I stayed. Out of fear, out of a foolish hope he would change. You confronted him. At 12, you did what I couldn't at 30. I had help. Scarlett glanced at Michael. Rebecca followed her gaze. Are you Michael Jordan, the basketball player? Just Michael. And now the temporary guardian of your children. Why? Because they needed me. And because they reminded me of what truly matters in life. Rebecca tried to process this. I don't understand. You don't have to, Scarlett interjected. You just need to know he saved our lives multiple times. Then, thank you for looking after them when I couldn't. It was an honor. A week later, Rebecca was stronger. She could stay awake for hours, talk, even eat solid food. Physical therapy had begun. Michael was at the apartment when David Mitchell, his lawyer, showed up with news. Mike, we have a problem. What kind of problem? Marcus Evans is dead. Everyone in the apartment froze. Scarlett, who was helping her mother with exercises, turned pale. How? Michael asked. Overdose. In a cheap motel in Detroit. Police are calling it suicide, but there were signs of a struggle and a strange note. It just said, the insurance still pays. Michael understood immediately. Marcus might be dead, but someone still wanted the insurance money. Who's the beneficiary now? By law, it would pass to the children. Administered by the legal guardian? Me. Exactly. Mike, this might look like I orchestrated everything to get the payout. The media will have a field day. Michael Jordan, billionaire, manipulates poor family to secure million-dollar insurance. Michael looked at Scarlett and Rebecca, both processing Marcus's death. I don't care about the media. Mike, David, draw up the papers. All insurance money goes into a trust fund for Scarlett and Thomas. I don't touch a cent. That won't stop the speculation. Then we'll do more. Public announcement. I, Michael Jordan, am creating the Evans Family Foundation for Families in Crisis. Initial endowment, $10 million. David nearly choked. $10 million? To start, families like the Evanses, kids caring for sick parents, they need help. Scarlett showed me that. Scarlett was crying now. Michael, you don't have to. Yes, I do. Do you know how many Scarletts are out there? How many children are right now forging signatures, lying to social workers, trying to keep their families together? Thousands, Rebecca said softly. I was a social worker before I met Marcus. I saw cases like this every week. Then we help them. All we can. Thomas, who had been quiet, suddenly spoke. The patterns are shifting. All over the city. I can feel it. Like ripples on a lake. You threw a stone, Michael. The ripples are spreading. I hope so, champ. David was still processing. Mike, this is generous beyond comprehension. But I have to ask, are you thinking of formal adoption? Michael paused. He had considered it, but he didn't want to presume. That's not my decision alone. All eyes turned to Rebecca. I don't know what to say. You've already done so much. Rebecca, Michael sat beside her, your children have given me something money could never buy. Purpose, family, love. If you'll allow it, it would be an honor to be an official part of their lives. But I'll get better. I'll be able to take care of them again. I know, and I'll be here to help, not to replace you, to support all of you. Rebecca looked at Scarlett, who was smiling through her tears, at Thomas, who for the first time in months looked at peace. Yes, she said. Yes, that would be wonderful. 6 months later, the miracle was complete. Rebecca had made a full recovery. Against all medical odds, she was walking, talking, being the strong mother Scarlett and Thomas needed. Thomas, with proper treatment and restored emotional stability, was speaking normally again. His meltdowns managed, his mathematical brilliance now channeled into a gifted program at school. Scarlett, finally freed from the crushing weight of caring for everyone, could just be a teenager, studying to become a doctor, inspired by Dr. Coleman, who continued to visit the family as a dear friend. And Michael? Michael Jordan had found something his 6 championship rings never gave him: true purpose. As the children's legal guardian and the father figure they never had, he was there for every one of Thomas's basketball games, for every one of Scarlett's school presentations. Rebecca and Michael cultivated a profound and respectful partnership, bound by their shared love for children. She as their mother, he as their protector and mentor. On Sunday evenings, they gathered for dinner, Rebecca preparing her specialties, the children bickering and laughing like siblings do, Michael regaling them with NBA tales that prompted Thomas to calculate impossible statistics. It was an unconventional family, forged in trauma, but fortified by love. And as Michael watched Scarlett help Thomas with his homework, as Rebecca smiled gratefully for each day of regained life, he knew those 3 steps in the pharmacy hadn't just changed their lives. They had salvaged his own soul. Subscribe to the channel for more stories that inspire, move, and remind us of the power of human compassion. Ring the bell so you don't miss any stories.